This two-part episode of the Executive Discussion Series features Mr. Laoye Jaiyeola, a banking and finance professional with over 2 decades of experience in the corporate sector. Currently, he is the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG, a private sector-led non-profit, non-partisan policy think tank organization with a mandate to promote and champion the reform of the Nigerian economy into an open and globally competitive economy. As a banking and finance juggernaut, Mr. Jaiyeola worked with the Central Bank of Nigeria and transitioned into the private sector, working with the Kakawa Discount House, rising the ranks to the managing director. Mr. Jaiyeola has served in various groups. He is the past president of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Nigeria and a trustee of the Financial Market Dealers Association and Nigerian Vision 2020. He holds a bachelor's degree at Obafemi Awolowo University, an MSc in Banking and Finance, and a Chartered Banker MBA degree at Bangor University, Wales. May I present to you Mr. Laoye Jaiyeola. Hello everyone, this is Efwa Elens-Edeh with Social Impact Consulting. This is another executive discussion series that we're having, and I am here and I am honored to be here with Mr. Jaiyeola. He's actually my former boss from Junior Achievement Nigeria. He was really the chairman that you really made an impact in my career. So I really appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
So the reason why I wanted to have this interview with you, sir, is that you have been preaching about sustainability in the civic space for years. And now it's a matter of discourse at this point. And I want to really just get more insight from you for our audience to get a sense of how you did it, how you are doing it, and your recommendations for others as they're building their nonprofits to be sustainable. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So,
so I now currently work with the NESG.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Right.
You're the Director General, and
no, we've changed that.
Oh, you have. Okay.
It's called CEO now.
You are the CEO.
People thought that then they thought that they still think that government funds all that we do. So once you are a Director General, you imagine they were a parasite.
Yes,
so we took a conscious decision that no, we're not funded by government at all. We're private sector funded. We raise our money by ourselves, and so let's just use CEO. So I'm CEO and NESG.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for that clarification. Now, you are actually retired from Kakawa Discount House, because the reason why I'm saying that is because you're a corporate executive and you know finances and you know numbers. So how were you able to balance being the managing director of Kakawa many years ago and really transitioning into the civic space and using your passion for development to push things forward? So,
well, I think, when I hear people talk about work, about civil society and all of those things, I get a bit worried, because my understanding is that life should be on purpose. You should live based on purpose. And whether you are at work, whether you are at the community or at civil society level, whatever, you are fulfilling a purpose. So for me, there is no particular separation. So this is corporate world. This is the work in the church. This is the work in the civil society. So I didn't have any clear distinction. It was a matter of, what is my purpose? What is my essence of living? And what am I living for? And how can I ensure that wherever I find myself, I live a life of purpose? So fortunately, I didn't have that challenge. And secondly, I was fortunate to work with an institution I believe in allowing people discover themselves and be themselves. So part of the things we did and which we encourage was that you must give back. There must be something you must be involved in. So right from when you joined Kakawa and all through, between one thing or the other. So for me, I was privileged to work in that space, and so I don't believe in significant distinction between one or two. I remember, and it started very early in my career.
Okay.
I started off at the central bank,
Okay.
and then when I did my professional exams and I started teaching, because we're making some small money from teaching, some people said, "Oh, we're doing private practice," and then you couldn't do private service while you work, and so the institute had to come up to say, "No, these people are helping in the development of the banking industry because we're actually teaching and raising people." So it's something that I had been through all my life. So balancing that is simply to ensure that, look, whether you're working, are you on purpose? Whether you are in anywhere you're on purpose. And so that's what we're doing. And make sure that you're not robbing people to pay ball. I mean, again, I was privileged to work in a place where it wasn't the matter of how many hours you spend on the table. There's a number of people, it's how long you are there. You should be seen seated at the table. It's about how efficient and effective you are. So whether you are sitting at a table or not, but you delivering on results.
Exactly.
And so if I knew I had something I had to do, then I had to make sure that I deliver on point so that I could have more time to go and do all those ones. So those are the things that drew me.
That's amazing, sir, that you started earlier in your career. Now, as you were going through your career, you also got involved with an organization, Junior Achievement Nigeria, amongst others. So can you just talk a little bit about that and your work with them, and even emphasizing sustainability?
Okay, again, when I talk about living on purpose, part of the things I believe in life is that how do you bring the best out of people? I recognize that whatever position you find yourself in life, you're privileged. It's sometimes many people do beat their chest and said, "I'm self-made," and I say, "It's just privilege, just grace." And again, this is based on my religious convictions, right? So, if you found grace, if God has helped you, why don't you help others?
Yes.
And so I then came in contact with what Chan does, Junior Achievement, reaching out to young people very early in the primaries and go. It was major for me that if you could discover those people very early in their career and show them a path to life, wow. So we then chose to identify with Jay. And what we did then was we were among those that decided that they must go to the public school.
I see.
Because then it was a little more privileged schools that Jay was doing. But so if Kakawa was going to join, we had to drive into the public space. It wasn't that they didn't want to go, but there were a lot of pressure from state government before they listened, before they opened the door. So we said we're all going to combine our efforts together and push. Now, yeah, you then said, you recall that I always talk about sustainability. And I'll tell you why. You see, generally in life is about sustainability. If you want to live longer than now, you must plan for the future. So sustainability isn't something that is limited to the civil space. Even as a nation, one of the challenges we have today is we're not living sustainably. It's not about what I can earn today, whether I'll live well today, what happens tomorrow, what happens thereafter. Even the way you use the environment, we're not doing it sustainably. Are we going to leave the earth better for our children or not? So, it's a sustainability it is again in my faith. It is, you see it in the scriptures. It's there. Part of the main work that God gave to man was to till the land and till it sustainably. Again, forgive me if I go put, they said God made everything, and He decided not to allow rain to come upon it until He had made man to till the land and manage the land sustainably. So for whatever we do, it should be sustainable. We should be sustainable. So when I got to Jan, and people had tried, but we were struggling. We were struggling about even meeting today's challenge, today's finances. And there's always every reason why any man will not save. There's always a reason why you will not save for tomorrow. And I talk to people who say, hey, what we're earning is not enough. We're barely surviving. And I said, if you're barely surviving today, what will happen to you tomorrow if you don't plan for tomorrow? So it was purposeful that we decided, you know, for every money we make today, we must put aside something for tomorrow. And that's why I created that sustainability funding to ensure that, look, over a period of time, we'll probably be able to take care of basic things. And in wherever organization I find myself, that's major to me, even anywhere, whether it's in the church, whether it's in the village society, it's about, look, how can we continue to do this on a continuous basis sustainably? And it's about preparing and investing for the future.
Okay. So, you know, you retired from Kakawa Discount House and great retirement party, which I was in attendance. And you had many options. There's many other things you could do after retirement. So why did you decide to become the CEO of NESG?
Okay. By the time I was leaving banking, I had done 36 years of banking.
Wow.
From central banking. So for me, I knew long ago that banking was out of the way.
Okay.
So I wasn't going to finance. Again, because I generally believe that we haven't done well enough as bankers, given the kind of things we inherited from our own predecessors and the kind of banking society we're leaving behind. And one of the work I did in the central bank, at the Chartered Institute of Bank, was how do we bring back ethics, how bring our values into the banking system. We allowed so much society to enter into us. So it was like, I was pained that we couldn't do it. We couldn't leave a better banking system to the society. So I wasn't going to do banking. So I was not going to consulting and to lecture. And so I started up a small consulting firm with my friends. And then I was going to do some work in Lagos and a few lecturing around and teach this thing. And then some of the things I talk about, how do I ensure we can then build people and institutionalize it. And then NESG opened up. Well, I had always been on the board of the NESG.
Okay.
So I was a board member. And my predecessor was going to go into politics.
I see.
And we're looking, at that point, board had not found who they consider sufficiently prepared to take NESG to the next level. So we had this discussion, okay, but he wasn't going to wait any longer. And it was an era of what we used when you saw that most ministers then were retiring and going into politics. And so you see one minister overseeing 2 or 3 ministries, and they were calling them supervising ministers. So my first my first title when I took over was a supervising director of NESG.
Oh, wow.
Because I wasn't going to take over the job. And I said, okay, you know what? I will fill in the gap. I was working at Kakawa then, and I was rounding up because we were completing the process of selling Kakawa to a new buyer. So I said, okay, fine. I will take some time off Kakawa and try and supervise the work at NESG, find a new CEO, and then go back to my consulting. But lo and behold, it didn't work. Whether it was a conspiracy or whatever, I found myself, because nobody was good enough as far as my people were concerned, because I think my colleagues are taking a decision that, look, you've been with the NESG, but around that time I've probably done close to about 15, 16 years as a volunteer for NESG.
Yes.
So actually, then we say, look, I know the NESG inside out. So the question was, who was more qualified? And secondly, my people believe that Jai had done something at a very professional level. I I was a treasurer of a bank. I rose to become the president of the Money Market Association of Nigeria, Association of all treasurers. Then I left treasury. Then I went to full banking. I then finished as the president of the National Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. So they said, look, you've done industry, you've done sector, you've done industry, go and do economy, come and do NESG. And so, okay, fine, so for me it was a challenge. So let's take up the challenge. So I just agreed. And that's why I found myself at NESG.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, with your passion for sustainability from decades ago, how have you been able to bring that into NESG to be where it is now?
Well, the same principles. Again, one of the things we try to do at NESG, again, I must again thank my predecessors. At least they did a couple of things that gave us a upside. I mean, if you're struggling to pay house rent and a few things, you then will sometimes paying house rent, paying salary, sometimes take a lot of you. But at least I was lucky. I inherited an organization that had its own house, so paying rent wasn't a problem.
Okay.
But was how do we build for the future? Again, we then sat and looked at a number of think tanks, what has happened to them, what is happening to think tanks worldwide, and realizing that unless if we're waiting for donations or grants, we're not going to get it. Now, let me backtrack and tell you about how NESG is funded. We have corporate members who pay corporate dues annually. But believe you me, if you add all together, they barely would just pay the salary.
Wow.
So all the work around, the advocacy we do itself, then most times, as the time I took over, we just waited for the summit. It's during summit that we will then work, raise some money, and then begin to then see what we can do. So it was evident for me that we can change the approach. Because first and foremost, whatever advocacy we do, we should allow evidence to drive it. So we spend so much money building our research capability. Now, having done that, it was clear enough. People saw the quality of our research, so they could commit much more to us. So we moved to projects. So we could go to development partners and say, look, we want to occupy this space. We are running this project, and so we're proving ourselves. So they know. I mean, last year there were a couple of projects that we did about agriculture, how to ensure we get the bills right. All those work. We're in the lawmaking space. So we do projects now. But whatever is done, there is a rule that a particular percentage of that goes to a sustainable fund. In fact, we've gone to a point now where out of the subscription, not less than 50% should go into our sustainable fund. So, you want to spend, just spend 50% what's left. The whole idea is to ensure that in years to come, whether or not there is subscription, at least we can do the basic thing. And it's just the same thing. So, like I said, it's not peculiar. It's a habit that somebody must learn and imbibe. You need it in your home as a young family, as an old family. You need it in your businesses. You need it in whatever organization to plan, and more so, young organizations to need to do it. Now, for the civil society space, we then needed that. We then realized that if we're going to go for projects, there were certain things we must have in place. Happily for NESG, we have a good governance structure.
Okay.
Right. And I just needed to use my finance to strengthen the finance area. So our budgeting, our accounts, you won't believe that even this year account already has been audited, it's been passed, it's been approved by the board finance committee. So when the board meets on the 18th, that account will be approved. And that account is shown everywhere. So you can see where we have our money. As a rule, one of the things we do is that once we resume the new year, the week after, the election is coming. And at our February meeting, the board approves the account and presents to the AGM in April. So it's a standard that's established. So that way, there's credibility. We then we strengthen our M&E measure and evaluation to ensure whatever project is on point. And so what we have found is that increasingly donors are comfortable with us.
I see.
Okay, yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Elens-Edeh with Social Impact Consulting. I'm a development consultant with 20 years of experience working with NGOs, international NGOs, and bilateral agencies to work in project support, monitoring and evaluation, and civil society strengthening. So now, I saw that local NGOs lack the capacity to manage large-scale projects, which can in turn impact their various communities because they have the connection based on their backgrounds. So this made me create this channel so that I can add value to you for free once you subscribe to this channel and get notified of upcoming videos. I look forward to hearing from you. Hello everyone, my name is Elens-Edeh with Social Impact Consulting. I'm a development consultant with 20 years of experience working with NGOs, international NGOs, and bilateral agencies to work in project support, monitoring and evaluation, and civil society strengthening. So now, I saw that local NGOs lack the capacity to manage large-scale projects, which can in turn impact their various communities because they have the connection based on their backgrounds. So this made me create this channel so that I can add value to you for free once you subscribe to this channel and get notified of upcoming videos. I look forward to hearing from you.